Okay, so the function is given f of x is equal to square root of x. Um, Tapos, ang gusto natin gawin dito, ano yung derivative ng inverse? So, without calculating the inverse. So, paano kunin yung inverse dito? So, ang gagamitin nating theorem, yung derivative ng inverse is 1 over dx over dy. Well, sorry, dapat baliktad rin na x yung ano eh. Yung ginagaya natin x and y. No? So, derivative with respect to x. So, dx over dy. So, the derivative of the inverse is equal to 1 over dy dx. So, ito yung ano, yung function. So, what we need to get is, using f of x equals square root of x, ano yung derivative ng inverse function? So, let's check. So, ang derivative ng square root of x is
1 over 2.
so 1/2. Tapos nun, magkakaroon ng square root of x. Tapos yun na, no? So, what we'll get is 1 over 2 So 1 over 2 square root of x, or 2 square root of x. So dx dy. Ngayon, ano ba yung square root of x? So if y equals square root of x, then this becomes 2y. So yun yung derivative ng inverse function. So yung f inverse evaluated at y, taking the derivative with respect to y is going to be 2y. Okay, ngayon ang inverse function. Yung f inverse of x is so dito babalik na natin, di ba? So that's going to be x squared. And yung derivative ng f inverse with respect to x is now 2x from here. So it does work out. Yung main na ano dito kasi, yung main na reason why it works is pag ginraph natin isang function, let's say may function tayo dito na monotonic. Tapos yung inverse niya, di ba, it's going to be may mirror reflection. So at this value, so for this value of x, we get y. And then, I think better what tayo isang function na alam natin inverse. So let's look at the graph. So square root of x is going to look like, so if this y equals x, yung square root of x will be shaped like, so y square, yung inverse ng square root of x. So when y is 0, So yung inverse is ganito. Tapos yung square root of x will be like this. And then this is 1. Pangit ng graph ko. Okay, and then let's see. When x is, for this value of x, this is going to be the value of y. Ngayon, for this value of y, so yung inverse about, for this value of y, so if this is x, then it carries to this value of y. Ngayon, for that value of y, the inverse will give you this value, this value. The slope here, which is the derivative, at saka yung slope dito, yung expected na behavior niyan is going to be dapat inverses sila. Kasi yung rise over run dito, at saka yung rise over run dito, para mag-opposite. Or flipped over. So yung delta y dito, so yung delta x at saka yung delta y, so yung slope ng inverse is delta x over delta y. Ngayon, at this point, that's going to be, yung slope naman ay delta y over delta x. So we form the same triangles. Tapos makita natin na multiplicative inverses sila. Okay, so let's now go to an exercise. So in exercises 19 through 24. So pakigwa yung exercise number 19. So let me stop sharing here.
Exercise 19.
Yeah. So in exercise 19 through 24, y equals f of x and x equals f inverse of y. Verify that dx dy is 1 over dy dx.
Ano pong page sa ano? Sa book?
Page 437 sa book.
Yeah.
So, ano ba yung mga 400?
Ano ba?
Teka, yan yung English, diba? So, section 5.1. So, sorry. Iba yung pagination niya. So, section 5.1, number 19. So, in exercises 19 through 24, let y be equal to f of x. And x equals f inverse of y. Wag prime. F raised to the negative 1. Or maglagay ka lang ng space para i-handwrite mo. And verify that dx over dy equals 1 over dy dx. And dx dy. Kasi yung derivative ng inverse is equal to 1 over dy dx. Okay, so for number 19, so letter A muna. Four x minus 3. So, okay, so yung f of x equals 4x minus 3. So, ang derivative niyan, that's going to be dy dx.
Oh, wait. Ayun.
Okay. Ngayon, yung inverse function naman, kailangan natin isulat. So, x equals 4y minus 3. Teka. X equals f inverse of y. Teka, parang pera. Ano yung f inverse of y? Teka. Balik dun sa ano. Akyat ulit. Pag ginawa natin x equals 4y minus 3, and you solve for y, that's f inverse of x. So f inverse of x is equal to x plus 3 over y. Ngayon, ang f inverse evaluated at y is, so f inverse of y is y plus 3 over 4. Hindi, tama yan. F inverse of x kasi yung ginawa natin dyan eh. So f inverse of x is x plus 3 over 4. Ngayon, yung next, therefore, f inverse evaluated at y is equal to y plus 3 over 4. Okay, so ano derivative niyan? One-fourth. Ngayon, tingnan mo yung dy dx. dy dx is 4, di ba? dx 1 over dx dy is 1 over dy dx. So it actually works out. Kasi dy dx is 4, so here 1/4 din yun. Okay, so letter B naman. Okay, so that's y in terms of x. Okay, so on, so y equals square root of x plus 1. And from there, solve for x in terms of y. Ano yan? Diba? Y is equal to square root of x plus 1. So, ang derivative niyan is okay. Ngayon, solve for x in terms of y. Para makuha natin yung inverse. So, y is equal to, so y square equals x plus 1. Therefore, x is 1 minus y, y squared minus 1. Okay. So, ang dx dy ay teka, bakit 2y, ba't may minus 1? 2y lang. Ngayon, ano ba yung ano? Ano ba yung 1 over dy dx? So, by sulat, 1 over dy dx is 1 over 1 over, okay, which is in turn yeah, hindi. Remember, 2 square root of x plus, so, sige. 2 square root of x plus 1 equals 2y. So, from there, anong conclusion natin? Dx dy, so in this case, is dx dy equal to 1 over dy dx? I think ano, yung para mas klaro yan, yung 1 over dy dx mo dito, isulat mo as, so equals 1 over 1
Ano po?
over
Yung
square
sabi
root
po.
of x plus 1 equals 2 square root of x plus 1. Yung ano, yung after nung line ng dx dy is 2y. Yung equation after that. So, dx dy is equal to 2y. The equation after that, isulat mo na dyan na equals to y. And then, conclude mo na. Dx dy is 1 over dy dx. Or therefore, dx dy is ganyan. O sige, so we're done with number 19. Yung number 21 naman. Teka, tama ba yan? Y is equal to 1/5. And, hindi, gagawin mo lang solve for x. Kasi ang kailangan lang natin x inverse of y. So, hindi natin nahanapin yung f inverse evaluated at x. We're looking for f inverse evaluated at y, which means yung original equation natin, yung y equals 1/5 x to the 5th, express x in terms of y. Or solve for x. So, yung first step dyan ay 5y equals x to the 5th. Kasi yung rule na dx dy equals 1 over dy dx, yung inverse expressed in terms of expressing x in terms of y. So dapat dyan, solve for x in terms of y. So starting from your first equation, y equals 1/5 x to the 5th, solve for x. So hindi pwede yan. Pwede nga, no? Maglagay ka ng equation number dun sa bawat equation dyan para ma-point out ko. Kasi ang hirap mag-refer to equations pag walang label eh. So, lagyan mo ng equation number. Lahat ng equations mo. Hello?
Opo.
So, pwedeng lagyan mo ng equation numbers yung mga equation mo dyan. Kasi ang hirap i-point out eh. So, y equals 1/5 x to the 5th. That's open parentheses. So, equation 1. So, and then equation 2 yung kasunod. And then equation 3. Yung equation 3, ang pinapahanap sa atin, hindi yan. Hindi express y, hindi flip yung x and y. Instead, yung theorem, ang ginagamit, solve for x in terms of y. So, from 1, solve for x. So, hindi dapat maging x equals 1/5 y to the 5th. So, isolate x. Express x in terms of y. Start from equation 1
Ayun.
para mahanap natin yung inverse. Yung expression na kailangan natin. So, burahin mo yung equation 3. Instead, ang gagawin lang natin ay isolate x. So, starting from 1, so yung next step sa 1 ay 5y equals x to the 5th. So, from 1, 5y equals x to the 5th. Therefore, x is, so 5th root of 5y. So, that's equation number 3, equation number 4. Equation numbers. Ngayon, so we have x in, tapos yung mukhang y yung nasa left hand side. Pwedeng isulat mo na mas maayos yung x. That should be x. Okay, ngayon ano yung dx dy?
fifth.
I think mas useful na i-break mo yan into fifth root of 5 times y to the 1/5. Okay, and then take the derivative. So x equals fifth root of 5 times y to the 1/5 dx dy is,
Ako sanay magsulat ng dy sa baba eh. Yung dx sa
okay,
baba.
so fifth root of 5 and then 1/5 y to the 4/5. So that's going to be for equation 5 and then equation 6 na yan. Okay, so from there, what is 1 over dx dy? Kaya pwedeng lagyan mo ng equation numbers 4, 5, and 6. Okay, ngayon from 6, 1 over dx dy is, uh, 1 over d. So, sorry, from kailangan natin yung equation number 2, 1 over dy dx. So, kaya, okay na yung dx dy. Ang kailangan natin ipakita ay, I think okay na yun. So, tingnan lang natin. Ngayon, from 2, what's 1 over dy dx? So, 1 over dy dx is, so from 2, that's, from equation 2. Kasi kailangan gagamitin natin yung result na yan. So, 1 over x to the 4th. Now, pag in-express mo yan in terms of y, x to the 4th, we know that x is the fifth root of, from 4, so equation 7. Lagyan mo ng equation number. Lagyan mo ng equation number kasi tapos yung ano. So from 7, so actually suot mo yun. From 7 and, and 4, what is 1 over dy dx? So 1 over dy dx is, okay, or 5 to the 1 over 5 to the 4/5 times y to the 4/5 din. Or, so tingnan mo, you can do some algebra para mapakita na that can be, you can show na that is going to be the same as the right hand side of 6. Kasi yun ang kailangan natin pakita. Yung result ng dx dy is going to be the same as 1 over dy dx.
Hmm.
So we need to show na that is equal to dx dy, which is 6. So do some algebra on the right-hand side to show na yung expression na yan reduces to yung right-hand side of 6.
So,
Kaya, fourth root yan ng, bakit y to square root of y to the fifth? Teka, may problema yung ano, yung denominator mo dyan sa ano, sa dx dy. That should be fifth root 10, di ba?
root 4. Ayan. Tapos,
Okay, ngayon, i-rationalize lang na, anti-rationalize lang natin. So,
ito po, 4 times 2, 4, 5, ano, 4.
uh,
So,
so, and then, fifth root of y. So, that's going to be the same as, okay. So, makikita natin na pareho yung result nung that's actually the same as the result of 1 over dy dx. Teka, 1 over dy dx. Okay, so, yeah. O sige, magde-demonstrate ako ng isa pa. So we're done with, this is number 19, di ba? So let me do um, 22 square root of 4. Ito. So demonstrate ko yung number 22. Ay, before that, sige, pakigawa, that's number 8, that's number 19, letter A, di ba? Sorry, number 21, letter A. So yung letter B. So 21, letter B. Patingin din. Okay. Tapos, so yung first equation, y equals cube root of x minus 8. And then, ano yung dy dx? Sorry, unahin muna natin yung paghanap ng inverse. So, what's x in terms of y? So, so start with y equals cube root of x minus 8. Okay, pag nag-stop yung Zoom, magre-rejoin lang ako. Kaya tuloy mo to.
Di ba? Di ba?
Okay. So, pakituloy. So, y equals cube root of x minus 8. And then, okay, so x minus 8 square. So, sige, ngayon, express x in terms of y. Kasi, di ba, ang kailangan natin pakita, dx dy, pag kinakilita natin yung dx dy, it's the same as 1 over dy dx. So, express x in terms of y, and then differentiate with respect to y. Size. Bakasya.
Kaya tapos mo eh. Tinis mo.
Hindi. Remember, your yung ginagawa natin dito ay from y in terms of x, solve for x in terms of y. So, pakilagyan na ng equation numbers. Kasi hindi ko ma-point out kung ano yung gustong itukoy pagka walang equation numbers eh. Teka. Paano makakalculate yung dx dy? Kasi ang ano dito ay kino-compare natin yung direct calculation of dx dy with calculating dy dx. So ano yun eh, ang point nito, there's an indirect way of calculating the inverse. Kasi kaya na ginagawa yan kasi marunong tayong kumuha ng derivative ng sine at cosine. Paano na yung kukunin yung derivative ng inverse? Teka, I think para mas clear, let me do an example. Yung 20b, yung 8x cubed. I think ano yan eh. So share ko yung screen ko. So let me do an example first para makita mo yung ano, yung flow ng argument. So, ganito yung ano. So 20b, yung 20b says f of x equals 8x cubed. So let's call this equation 1. Tapos 2 columns para mas kita para siya in one on one page. Ngayon, from 1, masusulat ko yung y equals 8x cubed. Ngayon, ang gusto kong gawin dito, so yung first step, solve for x in terms of y. So, y over 8 equals x cubed. Tapos nun, x is equal to y over 8 to the 1/3. And then, since x is equal to y over 8 to the 1/3, therefore, dx dy, yung direct calculation ng derivative ng inverse, with the inverse expressed as x in terms of y, is 1/3 y to the 1/3 minus 1 is minus 2/3. Minus 2/3. And then yung derivative ng y over 8 with respect to y is 1/8. Or 24, 1 over 24, y over 8 to the negative 2/3. Teka. I think better na separate line na siya. So ito, direct calculation of the inverse. So if we know what the original function is, ito parang ginawa mo, okay, set up natin yung inverse function. and then let's take the derivative. That's what we're doing here. Ngayon, so that's the first part. Ngayon, we need to show that dx dy, which we've calculated already, is equal to 1 over dy dx. So ito yung kailangan i-prove. So, consider 2. Yung derivative with respect to x must be 24x squared. Anong equation number yan? 6. So the statement 7, equation 8, and then ano yung 1 over dy dx? That's going to be 1 over 24 x squared. But x is equal to y over 8 to the 1/3. So from 9 and 10, dy dx is equal to 24, 1 over 20, sorry, 1 over dy dx is equal to 1 over 24. Tapos x to the negative 2, so susunod ko lang siya as y over 8 to the negative 2/3. So ito, so from 11 and 6, we see na dx dy is equal to 1 over dy dx. And that's equation 12. Clear ba yung naging reasoning?
Opo.
So ganun din yung ano. So first, ano muna yung dx dy? And then after that, calculate mo na yung dy dx. And then 1 over dy dx. Until at the end, ko-compare mo ngayon yung results. We get the same thing. From here, we see na yes. So gusto kong gawin mo ganun din for 21b. And then show me your work. Okay, so stop sharing na ako ulit. Kaya, tingnan, screenshot ko kaya to para may something for reference. Screen. And then screen over here. Send ko yun, yung screenshot. Okay, so meron ka na expression for dy dx. Ngayon, express x in terms of y. Sorry, kailangan mo i-calculate yung... So may dy dx ka, which means kailangan mo i-calculate yung 1 over dy dx. Okay. So ngayon, since na-calculate mo yung 1 over dy dx, yung next step, kailangan express mo ngayon yung x in terms of y. Okay, lagyan mo na ng equation numbers. Okay, so from equation 1, express x in terms of y. So again, from 1, x in terms of y is y cubed plus 8. So y cubed is x minus 8, y cubed plus 8 equals x. Okay, so that's equation number 4. Ano yung dx dy? So that's so from the previous equation, pag kinuha mo derivative with respect to y, teka, x is y cubed plus 8. So anong derivative of x with respect to y? So 3y square. Ngayon, kailangan pakita na that, so how do you show that that is equal to, yung may expression kanina, di ba, for 1 over dy dx. Tingnan mo ulit. So move up. Diba? 1 over dy dx is 3 times cube root of x minus 8 square. So what's the step to show na, okay, equation numbers. Kasi hindi ko masabi kung ano yung gusto kong itukoy na equation without the numbers. So, how do you show na from equation 5 that 3y square is also becomes 3 cube root of x minus 8 square? Anong kailangan mong gamitin? Anong equation yan? What equation can you use to show na 5 becomes the right hand side of 5 can be expressed in terms of as the right hand side of, kailangan mo makita yung buo eh. So iakyat mo pa yung akyat mo yung scroll up kasi kailangan makita mo yung ibang expressions. So scroll up. Okay, ngayon, tingnan mo, yung right hand side ng 3 at yung right hand side ng 5. Paano mo mapakita na equal silang dalawa?
Hmm.
Balik ka sa starting equation mo. Yung equation number 1.
So we'll just substitute it.
So using equation 1, so from 5 and 1, dx dy is Hindi, so kailangan mo isulat yun. Yung from equation 5 and 1, dx dy is yeah. So y squared tapos but y is x minus 8 cube root. X minus 8 cube root. Yeah, so pareho sila. So that's equation 6. From equation 6 and 3, yung conclusion ay dx dy is, so that's equation 6, di ba?
Okay.
So from 6 and 5, anong conclusion? Kailangan mo isulat yun kasi remember, you have to argue na you're arguing that dx dy is equal to 1 over dy dx. So, so that the argument will be sensible, kailangan mo i-combine from statement 3 or equation 3, diba? And equation 6. So from 3 and 6, dx dy is equal to 1 over dy dx. Yan yung gusto natin i-prove. So hindi natin ina-assume na totoo yan. Instead, yung task ay pakita mo for these examples na totoo yan. Kaya kita mo ganyan yung flow ng argument. So, yan yung equation 7 and then yan yung therefore, yan. Which was to be shown. Ito kailangan lang kasi klaro kung yung ginagawa, yung goal ng problem. Okay, so we're done with 21B. Ngayon, yung 23. Pakigawa naman. So let's do
Pag nagsosolve po
22.
si Joshua, sir, tama po kayo sa UK, yung parang similar po yun, sa, na yung syllabus sa Shingli.
Mm.
Yung kasing next na kukunin ni Joshua, nagtitake po siya ng online courses sa EDX eh. Yun na next na will be given by Imperial College of London yata po yun sa yung Mathematics A 12 yata po yun, parang ganun. A-12 parang yung pong syllabus nila halos parehas po sa Shingli eh. Yung tinuro nyo kay Joshua.
Mm. Kaso kung indulge siya ngayon, tapos kailangan niya tapusin yung, so yun yung ginagawa niya na to get credit.
Apo.
Okay.
Tsaka para ma-practice din ng para rin meron po siyang mga certificate para to build his yung resume.
Okay.
Bali,
Actually,
matatapos siya this week po yung kunyari yung chem niya kasi po advanced na sa Philippines pang second year daw college sa De La Salle na curriculum. Pero doon sa Gen Chem pa lang yung natapos niya po, pang first year pa lang sa MIT po yung nagbigay bali. Bali matatapos siguro within on Sunday or before Sunday po. Pasado na siya.
Okay.
Actually, wala pa siyang finals na lang po. Yun. Tapos sabi ko, take mo na yung ano yun sa yun ano po yung ino-offer ng Imperial College of London. Kasi yun naman yung tinuro ni Sir Mike.
Actually, kasi kaya sila similar kasi yung Singapore syllabus for A levels, yan yung sorry, O levels pala. Kasi O level math yan eh. Which is for grade, yung additional math nila is the same as pareho ng ng coverage ng GCSE na O level sa UK. Ang pinagkaiba lang, mas mahirap yung mas demanding yung Singapore.
Apo. So yung mga mas sabihin po yung sa mga top universities sa Singapore mas stressed out yung kids kesa sa UK.
Oo.
Mas ano po sila mas competitive
Pero
no?
hindi ko kasi alam kung ano yung ang ano kasi napaka-competitive ng environment nila eh. Kaya super stressful
Apo.
na everything is decided by yung performance nila sa grades, sa exams.
Yung pinapanood nga namin sir na documentary, parang ano pa nga eh, parang there was a time na ano talaga, parang yung sobra yun sa mga nagtututor doon na po.
Mm.
Yung minsan parang nandadaya na sila parang sa mga boards parang kino-coach na nila, binibigyan nila yung mga ano may leak na tapusan para tumaas yung rating nila tutorial kasi ano masyadong ang competitive. Doon pupunta lahat sa kanila. Kasi sa Shingli sir, hindi po yun ang usual na ino-offer sa Philippine curriculum no sir?
Mm. Teka, paano ma-calculate yung 1 over dy dx? Di ba you have to solve... sorry. Okay, sige. Yan pa rin, no? Sige. Okay na yan. So, yung other half ng proof. Remember, hindi tayo, ang ginagawa natin dyan dito ay, we're solving for x in terms of y. So, tingnan mo yung equation number 1. Nasa equation numbers mo? Okay, so from equation 1, solve for x in terms of y. Actually, yung kung gusto niyo na nag-reviewin ng yung comprehensive na review ng additional math,
Apo.
may binibenta sa Singapore na ang tawag na doon ay 10-year series. So, yung 10-year series is compiled O-level exams for additional math. Iba-ibang subjects eh. Pero may specific for additional math na pwedeng sagutan ninyo for practice.
Ano
Uniquely naman yun eh.
Kung publish yung Xingli rin po?
Xingli, maraming nagbebenta na gano'n eh. Xingli
Marami po.
has a 10-year series.
Ay, okay po.
So, pwedeng kumuha kayo ng old exams.
Apo.
Solve X po, no?
Solve for X.
Kasi mga courses, kaya tinitingnan ko po doon sa EDX, halos lahat ng mga, except yung sa mga arts siguro po, no? Pero halos lahat, kailangan ng math. Tapos hindi it's not, unlike nun before, ngayon yung math na kailangan is higher math. Kasi the world is changing. Iba na yung mga, ano po eh, iba pati yung mga courses. Sabi ko, magaganda sila, kaya lang, sabi ko talagang yung secret to taking up these courses is a good math foundation.
Teka, pwede pa ilagay yung equation numbers mo? Kasi may error. Gusto kong i-point out. Hindi ko ma-point out kasi walang label yung equation mo. Okay, so yung equation 6, paki-check yan. So yung 2x nilipat mo negative. Yung 2y nilipat mo negative. Paano naging plus 3?
Okay,
Careful mo.
Okay, so ngayon, pwede mo i-factor out yung negative sign eh. Kung mas convenient para sa'yo.
Kailangan mo po, parang
kasi 2y plus 3 over y minus 2 tas negative. So, pag nag-low di high, high di low. So, curly bracket lang. So, low is y minus 2 minus high over low square. So 2y minus 4 Teka, paki-check nung Teka, ang makukuha natin ay wag mo nang gusto ko lang ma-check yung yung value. So we get 7 over y minus 2 square. Ano yung common dx dy? Dx, pwede patingin. Ano yung dx dy mo? So gusto ko lang i-compare. So equation 8, 9, 10. Okay, so nag-agree tayo sa number 10. So dx dy is that. Ngayon, we have to show na dx dy is going to be equal to 1 over dy dx. X plus 2, xy plus 2y. And then simplified, high, d low. Bakit? Ano yung problema? Dx dy. So y is equal to sorry. Talagang mahaba lang talaga. 2x minus 3 over x plus 2. Okay, kailangan natin pakita na that is equal to 1 over dy dx. So we have to express the right-hand side of 10 in terms of x. So balik ka dun sa, sa first equation. Use the first equation and equation 10. Ma-algebra lang talaga to. Kasi nakikita ko rin eh. X plus 2 square oh, it does come out. Dx 1 over dy dx is equal to is 5. Yan, ulong ko lahat. So for dx dy in terms of y.
Tapos na eh.
Ngayon, di ba, ang goal natin, ipakita na ang dx dy calculated is going to be the same as 1 over dy dx. Tingnan mo yung 1 over dy dx mo. So go up. Ano yung expression na nakuha mo for 1 over dy dx?
Express. Bakit y minus 2 po dito? Hindi y plus 2.
Eh, tama talaga yan. So ngayon, kailangan, in terms of y pa yan eh. So kailangan mong i-express yan in terms of x.
Ah,
Para mapakita na yung expression for in 4, yung right-hand side ng 4 is the same as the right-hand side of dx dy. So gamitin mo yung equation 1 and equation 10 to express dx dy in terms of x. Ma-algebra yan.
hindi. Tapos na yun.
So yung equation 1, y is,
Ito nga mo. Convert siya.
di ba? So kailangan plug in dyan sa 10. Para hindi nakakalito, kopyahin mo yung equation na yun.
Okay mo na bro. Equation.
2x minus 3 over x plus 2. itabi mo siya. Like, y equals that. Para pwede mo makita.
At saka maayos yun.
Kasi hindi siya magkakasya dyan eh.
Huwag mo lang siyang i-fit.
Or kailangan mong i-scale.
Fit mo nga din siya, Josh, muna. Sa tabi.
Meron akong dalawa.
Ano?
Okay, so, and then close parentheses.
Equals to. Close parenthesis.
Okay, ngayon, ang kailangan mong gawin ngayon sa equation 11, simplify.
Ay, may minus 2 pala.
Mhm. So, dividing by a fraction, that's going to be 7 times yung multiplicative inverse para mas malinaw. Okay, so pakisimplify muna na yan. Kasi kailangan yan yun. I-compare natin yan sa 1 over dy dx. Or
7 over
over 7. Okay, so dx dy is x plus 2 square over 7. That's equation number, so 11, 12, 13. Kaya pakilabel yung equations. So, yung equation numbers, please make sure na meron. Teka, pwedeng akyat. Para mo kung ganito, akyat ka ng konti. Lagyan mo na equation numbers. Okay, ngayon para ma-conclude mo na x plus 2 square over 7 is 1 over dy dx, anong ginamit mong statement? So from 13 and equation number 4. Kaya ano yun eh. Kaya mo na-conclude yan. Okay, so yung next, sige, itong number 24, for additional practice. So y equals 3x plus 4 over 2x plus 6. So low, be high. Six plus six. Teka, kamusta na? Hello? Ayun, sige. So, ano yung first line, y equals 3x plus 4 over 2x plus 6. And then, tuloy mo siya. Teka, saan galing yan? Teka, before ka dumiretso dyan, calculate mo na yung 1 over dy dx. Kasi gagamitin mo yun, di ba? Okay. Check your algebra. 2xy plus 6y equals 3x plus 4. Okay. Okay. So, teka, from 4 end, ano equation number yung ano? So, dx dy is 1 over dy dx. Okay. Ngayon, yung next na gagawin ay, tingnan mo yung theorem 5.1.8. So, i-apply natin yung gusto kong i-apply yan. That's for, kasi yan yung next set of exercises eh. In exercises 25 through 41, find f inverse prime evaluated at D. So, i-note ko lang yun, yung theorem. So, let me share my like ko sa notepad ko. So, yung theorem, yung sa 5.1.8, ito yung conditions. F is continuous. Monotonic. So, on a closed interval. A to B. Tapos, C is an element of, so it's inside this interval. And f of C is equal to D. If f prime of C exists and f prime of C is not equal to 0, then f inverse derivative evaluated at D exists and f inverse derivative evaluated at D is equal to 1 over f prime C. So, yan yung statement. Teka, screenshot ko lang. I'll send ko. So, yung next set of exercises dito, yung sa 25 onwards, gagamitin yung theorem na yan. So, just an example. So, gawa tayong example lang dito. So, what if ang pinapahanap sa atin, ganito. Let's say f of x is equal to square root of x. Tapos, f prime of x is equal to, so we can calculate 1 over 2 square root of x. Yung f inverse of x is equal to, okay, we can write it down as x squared. Pero, ang goal kasi dito, wag i-calculate yung, iwasan i-calculate yan, yung derivative ng f inverse. Ito. Pero sige, kunin ko na rin for completeness. So yung derivative, so the prime, pangit ng, hindi maganda yung notation, taga, f inverse prime of x, that's going to be 2x. Ngayon, we have to find f inverse prime evaluated at 3. So, tingnan natin yun, no? Yung sinasabi ng theorem. Dito, yung D, let's zoom out. So, let's identify. Yung D here is 3. So, ano yung C? So, f of c is equal to d. So, ano ba yung square? So, square root of, so dito, to find c, square root of c is equal to d, which is 3. Or c is equal to 9. So, ayan. Ngayon, yung derivative, so f inverse prime evaluated at 3 is equal to 1 over f prime evaluated at 3. So if you want to get a derivative, plug in lang natin. What's f prime? It's 1 over 2 square root of x. So it's just 2 and then square root of 3. So pansin mo, sa method na to, hindi natin kailangan, we don't actually need to get the inverse. We can skip this so long as we know these two. Tapos alam natin, anong point i-evaluate sa inverse. As long as we know this, tapos we can solve for ano dapat yung what C gives 3, then we can evaluate the inverse at 3. These 3, so this should be C's 9. Ito. Or 2 times 3, that's 1, 6. Yun yun eh. Yun yung gagawin sa method na iiwasan nating i-evaluate yung inverse. Kasi may mga situations na mahirap hanapin yung inverse. So, it's an indirect way of calculating the derivative. Alam mo yung function, ayaw mong tiyagain i-calculate yung inverse, for example lang. Or hindi mo makalculate talaga. Yung mga examples dyan, yung tangent. Kung ang function natin ay tangent, anong derivative ng tangent inverse evaluated at, say, pi over 4? So, yun yung isang application yan. Okay, anyway, yung gusto kong gawin mo dito, tingnan mo yung mga examples sa TC7 nung paano gamitin yung theorem na yan. Ito, this is just one illustration. And then, ang gagawin natin, next Thursday, tutuloy natin tong exercises from 25 onwards. So let me just note it here. So for next Thursday, we'll be doing TC7, section 5.1, numbers 25 onwards. Tapos ano may mga problems dito na kailangan ng fundamental theorem of calculus. So, isi-skip natin yun. Yung fundamental theorem of calculus, yung first fundamental theorem. So, we'll also look at the first fundamental theorem. Pag nakaka-encounter na tayo niyan, babalikan natin yung fundamental theorem. So, kasama sa mga gusto kong mabalikan natin, yung section, kasi alam ko pinag-usapan natin to pero hindi natin masyadong ginamit. Yung paano kumuha ang derivative ng isang integral.
Oo nga po na.
Like, saan yun? So, we'll have to look at the first fundamental theorem, which is in section 4.7. So, section 5.1, and then pag kailangan natin yung fundamental theorem, we'll visit and do yung section 4.7, yung fundamental theorem of calculus. So, hindi natin prove. Instead, ang goal lang natin ay gamitin yung fundamental theorems.
Kaya ba po yung proof nun?
Tricky siya kasi yung definition mismo ng definite integral ay may tricky din. Hindi siya usually pinoprove at this level. Yung proof, usually ginagawa yan sa Math 123.1. Ano yan yung Riemann sum. Ang gagawin ko lang ay I'm going to give a plausibility argument based on some geometry. Pero hindi siya ko-consider ng mathematicians na proof.
Ano na po?
Yung standard for that would be dadaan ka pa sa yung malinis na definition ng Riemann sum, which is something na hindi outside the scope of the first calculus course. Parang ano yun yung Riemann sum na imbento ni Riemann, I think mga 1800s yata. Si Newton na imbento yung calculus 1600. Alam nila yung fundamental theorem. But yung mga tao, kasi since hindi maayos yung definitions ng limits at saka definition ng Riemann sum, hindi nila magawa ng maayos yung proof. So, it was found lacking.
Kumbaga po,
so, ganun, parang ano yun So, yung gagawin natin ganun. Parang yung status ni Newton, Leibniz. We know some of the rules of calculus. We have plausibility arguments for bakit mukhang reasonable to make it look reasonable. Pero yung strict proof na that would satisfy mathematicians today, hindi pa yon. Okay, anyway, we'll stop here for now and then we'll continue on. So ito we'll do for Thursday next week. Yung sa Sunday, tuloy tayo ng physics ulit. Okay? So, see you on Sunday. Bye-bye.
Yan lang po. Bye-bye po.